Today, we are going to explore one of the most enigmatic figures in the Bible. Although his presence is briefly and sporadically mentioned, his early appearance millennia before the birth of Christ, and his resurgence thousands of years later, leaves a trail of mystery. He lived longer than Methuselah. Get ready to discover everything the Bible reveals about this intriguing character called Melchizedek. I'm sure that after watching this video, you'll see things differently, so don't forget to leave your like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into the content. Melchizedek, whose name means King of Justice or My King is Just, holds a peculiar place in the scriptures, challenging traditional categories of religious and political leaders. He doesn't fit conventional molds, and it's precisely this uniqueness that makes him so fascinating and crucial to the understanding of faith. As we delve deeper into the biblical narrative, we find that references to Melchizedek are like rare gems scattered throughout sacred history, each revealing a unique aspect of this enigmatic figure. His first appearance occurs in ancient times, around 2,000 years before Christ's birth, when he encounters Abraham during a moment of conflict and victory after a tumultuous battle between allied kings and the 5 monarchs of the Dead Sea. Abraham, the Hebrew patriarch, returns victorious with his trained men after a daring pursuit up to Dan in the far north. Among the oaks of Mamre, a survivor of the enemy attacks, who had escaped, rushes to meet Abraham, bringing urgent and alarming news. As the trees murmur in the wind and the stillness is broken by the tension of the moment, Abraham listens intently to the messenger's words. His eyes reflect the seriousness of the report. His nephew Lot had been captured during the conflicts, taken prisoner along with his possessions and family. The news ignites an uncontrollable fury within Abraham, a fire that compels him to act. Immediately, he gathers his men and sets out on a bold mission, a rescue that will take him beyond known boundaries, beyond the limits of fear and hesitation. With 318 trained men, born in his own household, Abraham heads north on a journey marked by urgency and hope to find his nephew alive. As night falls, Abraham and his men approach Hobah, north of Damascus, and under a starry sky, they launch a daring attack, surprising the enemies on their own turf. The sound of swords tears through the silence of the night, war cries echoing between the hills as Abraham and his men fight bravely and determinedly. Victory is achieved in the shadows of the night, with the clamor of battle silenced by Abraham and his warriors' skill and determination. The enemies are defeated, the captives freed, and amid the battle's wreckage, a unique and transcendent encounter awaits Abraham. Abraham encounters a figure shrouded in mystery, a man whose presence exudes authority and serenity. This man is Melchizedek, the king and priest of Salem, who emerges from the night's shadows with his eyes glowing with an almost supernatural light. Melchizedek appears suddenly in the biblical narrative, without any genealogy or clearly defined origin. He is introduced as the king of Salem and priest of the Most High God, but the text reveals nothing about his ancestry or how he rose to this position of authority. His arrival wrapped in mystery and his identity remain an enigma that defies understanding. The account focuses on his interaction with Abraham after the battle in which Abraham rescued his nephew Lot. Melchizedek is described as a unique and enigmatic figure, playing the roles of both king and priest, making him central to understanding certain concepts and themes in the biblical narrative. He approaches Abraham with firm steps, his imposing presence silencing the post-battle atmosphere. In his hands, he carries bread and wine, symbols of sustenance and gestures of communion that go beyond words, reaching the depths of the soul. Abraham, filled with deep reverence in this singular encounter, bows before Melchizedek, recognizing the greatness that he emanates. If you find our content valuable, like the video and subscribe to the Wise Jesus channel. Don't forget to activate the notification bell so you don't miss our updates. If you are tired of feeling lost or confused when it comes to the Bible, we have a solution that can transform your spiritual life. The Basic Bible Knowledge course from the renowned Unigrages Foundation is the largest Bible course in the country, and we've secured an unbeatable discount for you. Using the coupon 10 years, you get 80% off from 597 Brazilian reals. The price drops to 9 Brazilian reals or 12 installments of 11 Brazilian reals. By taking this course, you will become deeply knowledgeable about the Scriptures, improving your understanding of the Bible and fostering a better relationship with God. You could also pursue a career in evangelism if that interests you, but be aware that the 80% discount coupon may disappear at any moment. Click the link in the description and take advantage of it now. In a gesture of deep respect and devotion, Abraham receives the bread and wine from Melchizedek's hands, symbols of blessing and spiritual communion. Melchizedek then raises his hands toward the heavens, blessing Abraham with words that echo beyond time and space, words filled with divine power and meaning. He acknowledges God's blessing upon Abraham, the favored one of the Most High, chosen for a mission that goes beyond human understanding. In a scene of communion and blessing, Abraham feels a call to gratitude and reverence in his heart. In a gesture of recognition and submission, Abraham gives Melchizedek a tithe of all the treasures won in the battle, acknowledging the spiritual authority and blessing that emanates from this unique figure. The tithe that Abraham offers to Melchizedek is not merely an act of material generosity but a recognition of the spiritual authority and divine blessing that Melchizedek represents. Melchizedek's theological importance in this context seems to challenge the established norms and biblical tradition. He is portrayed as a character who combines the roles of king and priest, a duality that was normally separate in the religious and political practices of the time. While later Hebrew culture forbade the kings of Israel from assuming the role of priests and vice versa, Melchizedek emerges as a priest of the Most High God without any direct relation to the people of Israel or the covenant established later with Abraham. This contrast between Melchizedek and the established order highlights his uniqueness and underscores his theological importance. His existence before the covenant with Abraham suggests that he was not limited by the specific laws and traditions of the Hebrew people, but rather served as a representative of the Most High God for all of humanity. This makes Melchizedek a universal and timeless figure whose priesthood transcends ethnic and cultural boundaries. Moreover, Melchizedek is described as blessing Abraham, recognizing him as an instrument of God, and bestowing a significant blessing upon him after his victory in battle. This interaction between Melchizedek and Abraham underscores the spiritual authority and role of the priest as a mediator between man and God, even before the formalization of the Levitical priesthood. Later on, a possible second reference to Melchizedek appears around 1,000 years before Christ, further intensifying the mysteries surrounding this figure. Psalm 110, one of the most quoted and interpreted in the Old Testament, offers a powerful and poetic vision of Christ's kingship and priesthood. In this psalm, David describes a vision in which God invites another figure, also called Lord, to sit at his right hand, symbolizing a position of supreme authority. Although the psalmist does not directly mention Melchizedek, many theologians see this passage as an allusion to Melchizedek's priesthood, especially considering his unique role as a king-priest. In this context, Melchizedek emerges as a precursor of the Messiah, whose priesthood and reign transcend earthly and temporal limitations. Just as Melchizedek blessed Abraham and received the tithe, Christ is exalted at the right hand of the Father as the eternal high priest and king, interceding for believers and reigning over all creation. The association between Melchizedek and the Lord, who is invited to sit at God's right hand in Psalm 110, highlights the theological significance of Melchizedek as a figure who prefigures Christ's redemptive and exalted work. The connection and resemblance between Melchizedek and Jesus as the eternal high priest are among the most intriguing and significant in biblical theology, leading many scholars to explore Melchizedek as a type of Christ. This perspective not only emphasizes Melchizedek's uniqueness as an enigmatic figure in the Old Testament but also underscores his prophetic relevance to understanding Christ's redemptive role. One theory that relates Melchizedek to other biblical figures, such as Noah, Seth, and even angels, is based on the absence of information about his genealogy and origin. Melchizedek's mysterious appearance without a recorded beginning or end in the scriptures suggests a transcendence and uniqueness that symbolize Christ's eternity. This interpretation reinforces the idea of Melchizedek as an anticipation of the Messiah, whose origin and nature surpass human limitations. Furthermore, the connection between Melchizedek and Jesus as the eternal high priest highlights the correspondence between their priestly functions. Just as Melchizedek blessed Abraham and received the tithe, Jesus blesses his followers and offers salvation and continuous intercession before God. The fact that Melchizedek has no defined genealogical succession and his mysterious appearances in the Bible suggests perpetual life, demonstrating a complete resemblance to Jesus Christ's priesthood, which transcends temporal limitations and offers eternal reconciliation between God and humanity. By recognizing Melchizedek as a type of Christ, we perceive the depth of the connection between these two figures and Melchizedek's prophetic relevance in Christian theology. Believers are led to understand the depth of Christ's saving work, which transcends time and space.